Struggling single mom saw her first love at an airport. Not knowing he was now a millionaire CEO, Sarah's hands trembled as she gripped her daughter's tiny palm, weaving through the crowded Denver airport terminal. Her worn sneakers squeaked against the polished floor, and she could feel the judgment in every passing glance at her faded jeans and the duct tape holding her suitcase together. She had exactly $47 in her bank account, a maxed-out credit card, and a prayer that the job interview waiting for her in Seattle would somehow save her sinking ship of a life. But then she saw him, standing near Gate 23, in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Was Daniel Morrison, the boy who had promised her forever under the stars 15 years ago, before life had torn them apart. If you're loving this story so far, please hit that like button. Drop a comment below telling me what you think will happen next. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more incredible stories that will touch your heart. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Sarah froze mid-step, causing a businessman behind her to grunt in annoyance as he swerved around her. Her 6-year-old daughter Emma tugged at her hand, confused by the sudden stop. But Sarah couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Because Daniel Morrison wasn't just standing there, he was commanding the space around him. People nodded as they passed him. A woman in an expensive blazer handed him a tablet, speaking quickly while he listened with focused attention that spoke of authority and power. He looked different. Older, obviously, but it wasn't just the years. His shoulders were broader, his jaw more defined, and there was a confidence in his posture that the 22-year-old college dropout she'd loved had never possessed. His dark hair was styled perfectly, and even from this distance, she could see the glint of an expensive watch on his wrist. Sarah's first instinct was to run, to grab Emma and disappear into the crowd before he could see her, before he could witness what she'd become. The girl who had once matched his dreams, stride for stride, was now a walking testament to broken promises and shattered aspirations. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail because she couldn't afford a decent haircut. Her jacket had a coffee stain on the sleeve from Emma's sippy cup mishap that morning, but fate had other plans. Emma, with the fearless curiosity of childhood, suddenly pulled free from Sarah's grip and darted toward a vending machine. The same vending machine that stood directly in Daniel's line of sight. Sarah's heart hammered as she rushed after her daughter, her cheap canvas bag slipping off her shoulder and spilling its contents across the terminal floor. Loose change scattered. A half-eaten granola bar rolled pathetically toward someone's luggage. And her tattered wallet landed right at Daniel Morrison's polished leather shoes. He bent down to pick it up, and their eyes met. For a moment, the chaos of the airport fell away. Daniel's green eyes widened with recognition, and Sarah watched a dozen emotions flicker across his face in rapid succession. Shock, disbelief, joy, and something that looked heartbreakingly like regret. Sarah? His voice was deeper than she remembered, but it still carried that same warmth that had once made her feel like the only person in the world. Sarah Bennett? She wanted the floor to open up and swallow her whole. Instead, she forced herself to straighten up, to meet his gaze with what little dignity she could muster. It's Sarah Mitchell now. Well, it was. I'm back to Bennett. She gestured vaguely at Emma, who was now successfully wresting a bag of chips from the vending machine. Divorced. The word hung between them like a confession. Daniel's expression softened. I can't believe it's you. It's been 15 years, Sarah finished, her voice barely above a whisper. Emma bounded back over, clutching her chips triumphantly. Then she noticed Daniel and tilted her head with innocent curiosity. Who's this? Sarah opened her mouth, but no words came out. What could she possibly say? I'm Daniel, he said, crouching down to Emma's level with surprising ease. I'm an old friend of your mom's. Emma giggled, immediately charmed. Sarah felt her chest tighten. So, Seattle? Daniel asked, standing back up and nodding toward her boarding pass. Job interview, Sarah admitted. Administrative assistant position. It's not much, but it's more than I'm making now at the diner in Boulder. And you? She forced herself to ask. Daniel hesitated, and in that pause, the woman with the tablet approached. Mr. Morrison, the car is ready. We need to leave for the board meeting in 20 minutes. Mr. Morrison. Board meeting. The pieces clicked into place with devastating clarity. You're a Morrison now? Sarah asked, her voice hollow. As in Morrison Tech? He had the grace to look uncomfortable. CEO, actually. Flight 2847 to Seattle, now boarding at gate 23, the intercom announced. Sarah grabbed Emma's hand, suddenly desperate to escape. This was too much, that's us, she said quickly. It was really good seeing you, Daniel. She turned to leave, but his hand caught her arm gently. Sarah, wait, please. He looked at the woman with the tablet, then back at Sarah, conflict written all over his face. How long are you in Seattle? Just 2 days. Interview tomorrow, fly back the next morning if I can't afford to stay longer. Stay at my hotel. The Morrison Grand, you and your daughter. No strings attached, just, please, I need to talk to you. There are things I never got to say. Pride told Sarah to refuse, but pride didn't pay for Emma's asthma medication. Pride didn't put food on the table. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Daniel's face transformed with relief. He quickly pulled out a business card and scribbled something on the back. My personal number. Call me when you land. As they boarded the plane, Sarah stared at the business card in her hand. 15 years ago, they'd been two broke college kids in love, planning to change the world together. They'd stayed up until dawn in his cramped dorm room, mapping out their future, the startup they'd build, the family they'd raise, the adventures they'd have. But then Sarah's mother had gotten diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and everything had shattered. Sarah had dropped out to care for her, to work 3 jobs to pay for treatments. Daniel had promised to wait, promised that nothing would change. But during those 2 painful years of her mother's illness, the distance between them had grown from miles to light years. The breaking point had come on a rainy November night. Daniel had driven 8 hours to see her, had begged her to come with him to California, had promised to take care of her mother too. But Sarah had been drowning in exhaustion and grief, and she'd said the words that had ended everything. You should go live your life, Daniel. I can't be the anchor that drags you down. He'd left, and she'd never heard from him again. 2 months later, her mother had passed. 6 months after that, Sarah had met Richard Mitchell at the diner. He'd seemed safe, stable. They'd gotten married. Emma had been born. And then, slowly, Richard had revealed himself to be none of those things. The drinking, the anger, the debt. By the time Emma was 4, Sarah had filed for divorce with nothing to her name but a daughter and a spine made of steel. When they landed in Seattle, a text buzzed. Car waiting for you outside baggage claim. Can't wait to see you. The car was a sleek black Mercedes. The Morrison Grand wasn't just a hotel. It was a palace of glass and steel that scraped the Seattle sky. The lobby dripped with understated luxury that made Sarah feel even more out of place. Ms. Bennett, the desk clerk said warmly. Welcome. Mr. Morrison has arranged for you to stay in the Cascade Suite. She handed over key cards and a sealed envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. Sarah, I'm in meetings until 8 p.m., but I'll come by around 8:30 if that works. No pressure on any of it. Just please don't disappear on me again. Daniel. The Cascade Suite was absurd. It was bigger than her entire apartment in Boulder. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the Seattle skyline. But it was Emma's room that truly undid her. Someone had filled it with thoughtful touches. Children's books, art supplies, a stuffed orca, and sitting on the bed, a new winter coat in exactly Emma's size with a note. Noticed the zipper on her old one was broken. Sarah sat down and cried. Big, ugly, messy tears for every struggle, every sacrifice, every moment she'd felt like she was failing. Emma wrapped her small arms around Sarah's neck. It's okay, Mommy. They spent the afternoon exploring the hotel. Emma was enchanted by everything. The indoor pool, the play area, the hot chocolate bar. For a few hours, Sarah let herself forget about bills and responsibility and just watched her daughter's joy. At 8:30 p.m., after Emma was bathed and watching a movie, the knock came. Daniel stood in the hallway, tie loosened, looking exhausted and nervous. In his hand was a bouquet of sunflowers, her favorite. Hi, he said softly. Hi. He entered the suite, set down the flowers, and turned to face her. I need to tell you something, and I need you to let me get through it before you say anything. Okay? Sarah nodded. I never stopped looking for you, Daniel said, the words tumbling out. After you told me to go, I tried to respect your wishes. I tried to move on, but I never could. I've had your name in a Google alert for 15 years. When I saw you today looking so tired and beautiful, I knew I couldn't let you walk away again." He stepped closer. "I know I'm 15 years too late. I know you have a daughter and a life and probably 1,000 reasons to tell me to go to hell. But I need you to know that every success I've had means nothing without someone to share it with. And that person has always been you. Why now?" Sarah whispered. "After all this time." "Because I was a coward before," Daniel admitted. "When you told me to go, I should have fought harder. I should have stayed. But I'm not 22 anymore, and I'm not walking away this time unless you explicitly tell me to. Daniel, you don't understand. I'm broke. I'm damaged. I'm a package deal with a 6-year-old kid. I work at a diner. I have $17,000 in medical debt. I'm not the person you build a future with." "You're exactly the person I build a future with," Daniel said firmly. "You're the strongest person I've ever known. You took care of your dying mother. You survived a bad marriage. You're raising an incredible kid by yourself. Sarah, you're my hero. This is crazy. We spent 30 minutes together at an airport. 30 minutes today. But before that, we spent 2 years building something real. Something that never really ended, not for me. I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can be what you need. What if it doesn't work? I can't survive losing you again, Daniel." He cupped her face in his hands. "Then we figure it out together. But what if it does work? What if this is the universe giving us a second chance?" Sarah leaned into his touch. "I'm terrified. Me too. But how about we start with dinner tomorrow night? You, me, and Emma, then phone calls, then visits. We take it one day at a time." "Okay," she breathed. "Let's try." Daniel pulled her into an embrace that felt like coming home. "You were never an anchor. You were my lighthouse." "Oh, you still are," a small voice interrupted. "Mommy, is that the hot chocolate man?" Emma appeared, clutching her orca. She studied Daniel seriously. "Are you going to make my mommy cry again?" "Only happy tears," Daniel promised. "If I ever make her sad cry, you have my permission to throw that orca at my head." Emma considered this, then nodded. "Do you like chicken nuggets?" "They're basically my favorite food." "Good. You can stay." The next day, Sarah's interview went well, but halfway through, she realized she didn't want it. She didn't want to start over alone. That night, Daniel made a proposal. "What if I offered you a job at Morrison Tech, administrative department, based in Denver so you don't have to move, full benefits, competitive salary, flexibility to have a life. Not out of pity, because I actually need someone I trust." He pulled out an actual job description. "You'd technically be working for Janet Reynolds in HR, personal and professional separate. If this doesn't work out romantically, the job is still yours. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm trying to help." It took Sarah hours to say yes, but she said yes. Standing at the airport for her flight home, with Emma asleep in her arms and Daniel beside her, Sarah felt something she hadn't felt in years, hope. "I'll call you when we land," she promised. "I'll be waiting," Daniel replied, kissing her forehead. "This isn't goodbye. This is just the beginning." 3 months later, Sarah started at Morrison Tech. 6 months after that, Daniel asked Emma's permission to date her mother officially. 1 year later, he proposed, not with flashy displays, but quietly, asking them both if they'd let him be part of their family. Sarah said yes through happy tears. Emma threw her orca at his head anyway, then demanded celebratory hot chocolate. 2 years after that chance airport meeting, Sarah married her first love with Emma as Flower Girl. As Daniel slipped the ring on her finger, he whispered, "Told you you were my lighthouse." "And you're my coming home," Sarah whispered back, because sometimes, against all odds, love gets a second chance. Sometimes the struggling single mom gets her fairy tale, not because a wealthy man swept in to save her, but because two people who'd always belonged together finally found their way back to each other. Sometimes, the ending is really just a beginning. If this story touched your heart, please help us spread the love. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your thoughts. Do you believe in second chances? Share this video with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more emotional, inspiring stories. Your support means everything, and I can't wait to share more incredible journeys with you. Remember, your story isn't over yet.